Thank you for checking this video out today, you guys, and for giving me a chance with your time. Luckily, it is one of those videos that is one of my favorite kinds of videos, and that is bringing at least a new to me, not necessarily new to you or the market, but I have a feeling if it's a new to me company, many of you have never heard of it, and that would be a small batch, American-made, American-owned company. And today we're going to be taking a look. I'll show you guys the logo here, and that is Bryant Hill. And I'm going to give you guys all the details on their beard wash, their beard balm, and their beard oil. Now, on top of that, if you really watch my reviews, you figured out that I have little tidbits throughout the video where I'm not just reviewing the products, but I'm giving some feedback to the company. I really take pride in giving some, oftentimes constructive criticism, or at the very least, just food for thought. I don't think that companies have to listen to anything I say. I'm not like, oh, they didn't make a change, boo-hoo. It's just I've picked up a lot of perspective over the last 8 to 10 years of working with companies, of developing products that have been in stores, and just interacting with every range of company on the spectrum, from new ones to very large ones to good ones to not so good ones. So I do weave those into my reviews, and I know it's not picked up by everybody, but those of you that catch it, shout out to you guys. And hopefully the companies really take it from the place in which it's coming, which is all of the positive intentions. Let's get into it. Real quick, thumbs up if you don't mind. My name is Dan C. Bearded. I do this for my career, and it is absolutely a passion of mine. Happy to answer any questions down in the comments and leave your feedback at any time. So this company is out of Georgia. It was started by a guy by the name of Dwayne, and he had kind of your common beard, small batch company origin story. He had eczema. He had sensitive skin, and he had a lot of problems with ingredients that were being used, such as hormone disruptors. They've got a good story on their About Us section. I encourage you guys to go check it out on the website. And so he made a company to address those problems, and they've been selling these products out of Georgia, I believe, for a few years now, and we're going to get into it. We're going to start off with the beard oil. I do have 2 different bottles here, and right off the jump, I will say it's very interesting. So the 2 different bottles, one is the glass and has a different, I got to open one here without the top, and it has the different kind of pump top on it. Then you have another one. This one is actually plastic and has a different kind of pump top. Now, I'm a little conflicted on which one I like better. I greatly like the mechanism of this pump top better, but I like the glass over plastic. So a little bit of both. This pump top's not quite as consistent and kind of just, you guys ever have the pump tops that are like shoots a little bit too much, like, oh man, got it onto the mirror or whatever it may be? When you're using 8 or 9 pumps, it can get a little messy, right? So I do like the pump top, but I like the bottle. So, okay. For this oil, it goes for $31.99 on the website, at least at the time of recording this. I usually record about a week before the video drops when it comes to reviews. And that might shock some of you, right? Whoa, $31, Dan? I've never paid that. This is a 2-ounce oil. So if we're breaking down the value there, we're looking at around $15.50, and in that case, that's a fantastic value. However, it is still $31 for someone to pay. And if it's a returning customer that loves these products, that's probably great news. But if it's a new customer, it can be challenging because it's still a bigger investment. Even if the per ounce is a better deal, it's still an investment. Now, the counter to that, of course, would be offering samples, where people can try different scents. They can try it with not as big of an investment money-wise. I don't think that this company offers samples, though. I checked on their beard oil listing, and I used their search function, which I love when companies have the search function, and there were no samples. So I would highly, highly recommend, if possible, having samples for this company, especially because of that higher price point of barrier of entry for someone to try your brand. Now, and I did just do a video about samples in general within the last couple of weeks. I encourage you or anybody to go check those out. So that's our price on here. It's kind of a double-edged sword. Now, let's get into the ingredients on these oils here. We are looking at apricot kernel, coconut oil, grapeseed oil, sweet almond oil. We are looking at Abyssinian oil, and these are in the scientific names, but also in parentheses have the layman's terms, except for the last one. Abyssinian oil is not, it's just in the scientific name, but I know what that one means. And then we have fragrance, which they're saying this one is essential oils. And then there's also some rosemary leaf extract. And same here, essential oil. And I'm assuming that they're all essential oils. They are. So those are our ingredients. To me, it is a medium light viscosity. It's not a medium, it's not a thick, it's a medium light, and it's solid. It has some ingredients that some people worry about, right? We know grapeseed oil can be an issue for some because the sourcing is so much up in the air. There's so much bad options, so many bad options out there. However, there are good quality options. I had none of the negative ramifications of the hexane, oh my goodness gracious, guys. The hexane extracted oils out of there. Got it. But there is also the coconut oil. I've covered that recently where some people get a reaction where they smell like a wet dog after coconut oil. Same thing. I do not have that reaction. So nothing negative here. It worked. My beard felt good. My beard styled decent. It wasn't anything that I haven't really experienced before. It's your pretty kind of basic blend, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's just what you're looking for. Medium thin viscosity, it worked well. Not the greatest, but far from bad. Nothing wrong with that blend at all, you guys. Okay, got that. We'll get into the scents in a bit. I want to talk about the products first here, switch that up a little bit. And then you have your beard balm. The beard balm, I've got two different labels here that I'll show you, just slightly different on this one as compared to the others. The beard balm is all white. It is a medium firm hold. It's not the firmest, but it's definitely not a butter. It does have that hold for styling, which I love. I believe balm should be for styling first and foremost, and then some conditioning after that. Butter is all nourishment and conditioning, and maybe a little bit of styling. And on this one, we're looking at the oil blend, and they do have a slightly different oil blend here. Apricot, coconut, grapeseed, sweet almond, and that's another note. They do have some people that have nut allergies that are allergic to sweet almond. Again, I don't, and I'm a fan of sweet almond. And then you have jojoba, hemp seed. We have Abyssinian, argan, and then essential oils and rosemary leaf extract. So I would assume on here that this label is not correct. I'm going to go out on a limb. I don't think that the most potent ingredient in this is apricot oil. And then it's the same. Okay, now I have a different label. So this one appears to just have the wrong label. And that would be on the Southern Gentleman balm. Now, on the other two balms, we have shea butter, beeswax. Okay, that makes a lot more sense on this one. And then the ingredients to follow. One more little tidbit before I talk about more of the quality here. I will say that there are a couple of things on the labels that I would recommend adjusting. For example, on the diamond cutter, there is no note on the front on the ounces, right? When we see their other balm, it's pretty forward and right in your face, 2 ounces. This one does not have any. And then I don't know if there was just like an issue with this one or not, but there's no label on the back. Now, of course, to be legal, we want to have on the front the ounces. We also want to have on the back the label with the ingredients. And I would recommend noting on your oils that they are fluid ounces and then just leaving it 2 ounces on the balms. When we do balms, it is by weight. When we do oils, it is by volume, fluid ounces, first weight. Now, that is something, especially as you grow and scale, is going to be important. So just a little tidbit there as a note. But about the balm, guys, again, medium firm, works well. I'm not a balm guy, but I did wear it one day to test it out. Did a great job. Didn't have any issues. Just not for me. Just not a balm guy myself. And then I have 3 different beard washes. They're all the same type of wash. And for their beard wash, it is really good. The one thing that stood out to me that was very unique is it has honey as an ingredient. Now, if you look up like generational recipes for shampoos and washes, many of them have honey because it has so many great qualities to it. Did I notice the honey in here? No, but I thought it was really cool that it was in it. My only note is that it did feel a little bit more stripping. I am not comfortable using this one on a daily basis. It didn't feel like a full stripping. It didn't feel like it was a soap or a pH of 11 or anything harsh in there like an apple cider vinegar rinse, anything like that. But it just felt a little bit as compared to my other ones. I'm in the same water table, so no variables changing there. It did feel a little bit more squeaky, a little bit more stripping. So I would have this as one of those 2 to 3 times a week type washes that when I am really sweaty from the gym or working outside because it's springtime, I need a little bit more than just my daily, but it's not a stripping day yet, I would go with something like this. Pleasant experience, good smell, and the scent did not linger. Big fan of scents not lingering. That was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Because the scent is pleasant, and we'll talk about scents in a bit. I was a little bit worried that it was going to carry over and clash. Didn't do that at all. So that was awesome. Okay, and then just two, and I'll talk about the scents here in a little bit. Two other little tidbits for a little bit of advice. The washes did leak, and one of the balms did melt and leak as well. So I just wanted to make sure and note there. I tried to clean it up the best I can, but you can still see some of the residue from this. And I used paper towel, I used napkins, I had it in the shower, of course. And so they did leak. And that's just to give you guys the experience for the company. These things happen. When you're shipping from Georgia where it's hot and you have something like a balm, it's going to turn to a liquid. So this feedback can help them change the way that they seal it, the way that they package it. And same for the wash. I could not find any leakage from the oils, but it was inside of the box. And then the last thing I'll give advice on, I don't know why I feel like I'm just like, here's this point, but I genuinely believe that this will help this company. And the best owners are like, dude, thank you so much for that feedback. I didn't think about that. I didn't know about that. That is so valuable. I would have paid like big companies lots of money to tell me that kind of info. So I hope they take it from that place. The one thing that I would say is I love the labels on their wash. And one part in particular, it says down at the bottom, external use only. That's always good to cover yourself. You don't want a kid popping a cap off and chugging 8 ounces of wash and then having an issue and suing the company. External use only. Got you. And then it says made in USA, distributed by Bryant Hill, meaning they did not make this product physically in-house. I don't recommend any small batch companies work with water-based products in-house unless they have extensive education. They have a real wet lab that is a clean lab. Working with water-based is a whole new world. When you talk about preservatives, when you talk about mold, when you talk about pH, and you talk about so many aspects that make it more difficult than oil, butter, and balm, work with a lab. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of just buying something and selling it, but work with them. Tell them something you want focus, right? For example, maybe they said, hey, we want to focus on honey in our blend, and then the lab works it in. And you say, hey, we want these oils, it's intended for a beard, and a pH should be in this range. That's awesome. That is well done on the label. Now, on the label of the oil, though, the only thing that it has as a note that is related to that is small batch made in America. Now, if it is made in-house, I would say created by Bryant Hill. Created by and distributed by Bryant Hill. Now, if it was not made in-house, you would need to note that just like the wash did and put something like distributed by Bryant Hill. So just a little note there. I think that if anything, it helps the image of the oil by putting in there that disclosure that you guys made it. Okay, got that? The products, boom, boom, boom. Now let's talk about the scents that I have in front of us. We have 4 different scents. The first one that I'm gonna talk about is my favorite. Now, oftentimes it's just in random order. This is not in random order. And that would be the Southern Gentleman, the Southern Gentleman. And here is their write-up. Now, it is difficult to read because the font is really small, especially on the oil bottle, and the color is not the most contrasting, so it can be a little bit difficult, and I have really good vision as well. Now, of course, on the website, it's gonna be easier, but a lot of guys, when they're working with products, they have it in their hand, they're in the bathroom, they just wanna read it right then. And this is a fusion of bright jasmine, grapefruit, bergamot, lemon, balanced with peppercorn, ginger, and jasmine, anchored with cool maritime notes, crushed peppermint, and earthy patchouli. And then it's got in here cedar, vetiver, labdanum, and frankincense. A lot going on, you guys. But the smell on this one is real nice. It is in the world of a cologne, but it's in a bright, fresh, and kind of lighter, more chill cologne. It's not super aggressive. It's super loud. It's for you and your face and those close to you and not anybody really else. Very clean, very pleasant. This is something that I could and would wear on a regular basis. Southern Gentleman, very nice scent, you guys. Very, very nice scent. All right, next one is Farmhouse Tobacco. And this one is smoldering woods, soft musk wrapped in tobacco, amber, finished with spice, deep polish, and this is unmistakably refined. Yeah, this to me is your like vanilla tobacco classic scent. I don't get a ton of musk or a ton of cologne out of it. It is just more of your vanilla tobacco scent. Not for me. You guys know I'm not the biggest fan of tobacco scents. I really don't like cherry tobacco. That's not this. And I'm not the biggest fan of vanilla tobacco. And I get a lot of vanilla tobacco out of that, even though it doesn't, I don't think it listed vanilla. But that is the biggest note that I get. It's just a straight up vanilla tobacco. Many of you will enjoy that. If you're a tobacco fan, this is a good pure tobacco. It's not like cheap smelling or incense smelling or Yankee Candle. It's just a good, smooth vanilla tobacco. And then we have Tailor Made. This one is eucalyptus, sage, warm spices, woods, vetiver, patchouli. I'll give you guys my take on this one. And this one's very light. I'm smelling the balm right now, but I've used the oil several times. Also very light, and I like that. It just reminds me of a good, clean, essential oil blend. I don't get many of the notes that they talked about with the, I don't get a ton of the warm spices or woods or vetiver or patchouli. And again, those are kind of your base notes. As the day goes on, some of those top notes are going to fade away and some of those base notes come out. I just didn't get a lot of those. I mainly got the top notes that were the eucalyptus and sage, just clean and fresh. And then when those faded away, the scent just kind of dissipated with it. And I was A-okay with that. That was wonderful. And then we have the Diamond Cutter. And this is a hint of fresh clover that will have you smelling amazing. Bang! I don't know what the bang's for, but that's what they had on there. And it is. It's just an earthy, wonderful green type scent. Really enjoy those. 3 out of 4 are scents that I could wear on a regular basis. Very, very, very well done. I really believe this company is onto something to kind of wrap up here, that they have a way with scents. Their branding looks very nice. And then just a couple of tweaks on the packaging, on the labeling, on even just thinking about the market and thinking about allergies and ingredients that some people are adverse to as you scale and grow. Just a little bit of food for thought out there, but nothing but positive interactions with this company. I checked out their social media, seem to have a great presence on there, a great story on there, proud father. It's a really good company, and I have a feeling they're gonna continue to grow. I can't wait to follow their journey. Down below, you guys, have any of you had the chance to try them? Have any of you thought of questions after watching this video that you would like to ask them? And it's just open in general. Thank you guys for watching the video today. My name's Dan C. Bearded. Please stay bearded and stay positive.